Hello, thank you for joining me. The huskiness continues, I apologise. Right, off we go. This piece is a piece of reflection by me. I guess many of my posts are, but it's been sort of formulated by three separate happenings, forming a triangle. And a triangle is one of the strongest structures that we can have. And it's about what makes us what we are, and continuation of things that have passed. And a bit like the fact that I am collecting seeds already. Those are poppies, lovely purple poppies. And in here I have nasturtiums. Can you see them? There's one, that's a better one. Nasturtiums and calendula, whichever way of pronunciation. That's a better one, you prefer. Normally I do that late August, but with the heat that we've had, the flowers have finished early and the seeds have produced early. So I spent a very pleasant few minutes tapping the poppy heads and collecting the other seeds, which I will spread out and dry and store ready for next year. So what are these three things that have happened and why? Well, first of all, could I refer you to a link that I have put below this recording? It's a link about the 60s, the 1960s. And that was the third corner of the triangle. So please click through and watch it. And bits of it seem sort of very dull compared with these days and in black and white, but no, just click through, please, and watch it. But I've had a couple of visits to the doctors this last week, and they were the first two corners of my triangle. The first one, I had to go and produce a specimen. And true to form, it wasn't that easy. I was given the wherewithal, went into the ladies' powder room, changing room, bathroom, whatever you wish to call it. And I was unable to fill the little container. And so I came out of the stall and there were two ladies there. And they picked up on my facial expressions, didn't say a word. And they said, are you all right? So that was it. I was telling them, I said, I can't fill my little what's it. And that was it. We were off. Right, okay, we'll turn the taps on. We'll do this, we'll do that. And suddenly what had been a ridiculously big thing for me, shouldn't have been, but it was, became fun and funny. And it went on from there. And on my fourth visit to the ladies' room, I actually did manage to fill the little cup, just. So that was the first corner. And then the second corner was when I was having an appointment on Saturday to see my GP, well, a GP. I hadn't seen this guy before. And I've never had a Saturday appointment before. The waiting room, well, I was able to park straight away. Wow, rather than drive around a few times waiting for somebody to come out. I could park choice of places. And when I went in, there was one other lady, and another lady followed me in. And normally, I don't know about you, but in doctors' waiting rooms, everybody sort of sits there in their own little world. And the three of us just got chatting. Nothing about what we were there for, just everyday inane chat. Just human interaction. We smiled, we giggled. And I thought, this is what things should be like. And then the third piece of the triangle was the video. Video on the 60s. I've always said that I am so grateful to my parents for the upbringing that I had. Money was very sparse, but love was omnipresent. And they were a shining example of a loving couple. Not over the top, showy, just quietly supportive of one another and of me. And that set me a wonderful example. And this video, it covered so many things that are me today. A washing line full of washing and how lovely it is to bring it in afterwards. And that many people just use a tumble dryer. And the little things, the fact that we Brits always used to queue without complaining, that manners were essential, the simple pleases and thank yous. They weren't ignored. They were, taught to children at an early age so that it was something that came naturally to them. And sitting at a table, eating a meal, not one phone in sight, no elbows on the table, but communication and good, basic food. So it really, I'm going to have to pause. Sorry about that. It really brought it home to me that not only were my parents the roots from which I've grown and developed and have my core beliefs, my core, just the way I am, how I am, what I do. And I've been taking that for granted, and I'm going to stop because I am proud of who I am, what I am. I might seem old-fashioned, but do you know, I don't care. To me, those basic ways of being built up the resilience that I have these days. And the fact that, despite being kicked down, we get up and we carry on. So I think many of us, we look to our parents, but we don't look to the community. And that community, that time. And for me, I was a child in the 1950s, but the 1960s, definitely, when I was a teenager and going on to university, those times, they were the mortar between the bricks that the 1950s had put down. And that mortar's been strong. But I mentioned the word community. They used to say it takes a village to bring up a child, to bring up a baby. I wonder how many people are in the fortunate position of having people around to help them with that. But communities, the community that I lived in was a little cul-de-sac avenue. I knew the name of everybody round there, and I would no more pass their gate without saying hello if they were there than I would fly to the moon. It was just how we were, communicating, not face down onto a mobile form of communication. Smiles, not emojis. And I think that this is one of the things that it's sad that maybe we've lost. But that village, that community, I've lived in a village that everybody joined in with everything. And I loved that. I would return there at the drop of a hat, but going back to places where you used to be in totally different circumstances is probably not a good idea. And I am happy here with my little community of friends. Friends that I know I can trust, and friends who have very similar outlooks to me. So on that note, I will get spreading out my seeds, taking the seeds from the flower heads of the calendula and putting them somewhere that Mishka can't either bat them onto the floor or try and nibble them. Neither would be a good idea. So please click through to that video and you maybe see bits of me in there, not literally, but bits of where the me that you see were formed. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care. Bye for now. Bye.